I think a lot of it does stem from hypersexuality of women. That stems from them being as young as what was the Netflix?
Was she like
She was
8?
11, 12?
She was 11.
12, yeah.
Was she 12?
She's 12. Even that hypersexualizing these young women from such a young age. Already she's categorized as, or she's been set up for the rest of her life to be this whore in society because she's a dancer and she goes against her religion and she goes against this. That Netflix show's got a lot of issues that I don't agree with.
What was it called again?
To I forgot what it's
I
called.
can't remember.
I know it was in the Sundance Festival or Sundance, Sundance or Sundown Festival, one of the two. But I forgot the name of it. I remember seeing it on Twitter. And it was
Little
just
something, I think.
it didn't really sound appealing at all.
It is actually quite crazy that you can't just leave kids to be kids or dress like kids. I know was it Stranger Things? Is it Millie Brown?
Yeah,
Brown?
Millie Brown.
Yeah. That the fact that they're trying to dress her to be older than she actually is, or
Yeah.
that's the issue of Hollywood.
Yeah,
because
and
sex
Emma
sells.
Watson-
Cuties.
Mm.
Sorry,
Cuties,
the show was
yeah.
called
Yeah.
Cuties.
And then Emma Watson and Harry Potter,
Mhm.
loads of guys were saying, "Oh yeah, they will smash her." She was 12 when she
So-
first started.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched Matilda?
Yes,
The
yeah.
movie. So the main character, Mara Wilson, I think her name is. She after that, she just vanished off the face of the earth. No one knows about her. She doesn't do movies anymore or anything like that. Because she, after that film, people started sexualizing her and they couldn't like her like they used to because they had started to see her in a different way, and she was spread all over the media because of seeing her in this new light where they couldn't differentiate her as a kid and her as a woman who's growing. So as an actress, she just didn't.
Wow,
Her career just went.
that's sad.
And you see it with loads of girls in Hollywood where their role kind of changes. With Millie Bobby Brown, she's completely sexualized now that she's 14, 15, I don't know how old she is. And it separates that from her being a child actress, and we start seeing her in that way. And
then you immediately start to categorize her as this whore in this complex that we're talking about because immediately you're you can't, as you said, you can't associate her with being this holy person because you start to sexualize her. The whole point of this complex and the whole reason as to why this complex is there for a term that we use is to say that the person that you marry is not somebody that you sexualize initially. It's only until you marry her and then potentially you can become sexually attracted. And I use the word potentially because not all the time, because usually some men who don't sexualize that Madonna that they marry go and cheat.
Yeah, it's true. That's terrible. Whilst I don't feel I follow the Madonna whore complex, I 100% agree that it definitely is prevalent around all of us. But I feel like the only way to kind of break the cycle is for women to be the change. Because the reality is, if we look at it in most basic terms, if men are the hunters of women, you can't change the crop, can you? All we can just do is hunt from the current crop. So therefore, if women break, if a lot of it is if women like yourselves go against the grain and you say, I'm not gonna be put into a box of being a Madonna or a whore, I'm just gonna live the way I want to live, men will have to adjust inherently.
It's not as simple as that because even with the media will also put everyone back in place. So take, for example...
But if everyone does it, for instance, if we talk about, was it Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish.
Eilish, sorry. So you see how the media painted her out to be this, I don't know, the next suffragette because obviously she's covering up her body sort of thing. But you see again how that's an example of, although it's screwed up how they glorify her, but then they oppress Muslim women or other women that choose to dress more modestly.
Nuns But
that's an example of how, if that becomes more common, let's say for instance, if she started a trend where that becomes the norm, then by default,
they pick and choose.
The work shouldn't be put on women to change. It should
It's
be put
both.
on
It's
it's a society issue, and it's also men seeing women as sexual beings in the way that it's portrayed in media and advertisement and everything.
I don't think it's going to get any better.
And it's this is something, and especially now that I think promiscuity is getting more and more accepted, and we're being more equal, the lines are getting a bit more blurred. So the people are kind of confused. They don't know what category to put them in. And it's just like created a weird kind of thing of an in
Twilight kind
between,
of zone.
and people don't really know how they're gonna marry. They don't even know what the idea of marriage has completely even changed.
I'd 100% agree, because now, for instance, you know, like like we said, historically, women were like either like a Madonna or a whore, but now you're seeing women, you know, be a lot more free.
It's a Venn diagram now.
Yeah, essentially, and women are being a lot more liberated. But then, you know, it kind of goes against what men see as the norm, and then she'll be like, no, I'm still, you know, being free, I'm being liberated. And men generally then get confused as well. So, you know, women will start to, let's say, wear more revealing clothes, which is their own choice.
Yeah.
But then men will be like, but I don't get it. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
This is the problem that I've got. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Like, guys, so just say, for instance, if you were wearing like a dress that, let's say, like hugged your body, for instance, some guys would be like, okay, she's giving off this sort of energy. And then let's say if they try to talk to you and you're like, I really don't have time for any of your conversation, they'll be like, what do you mean,
hold on,
bro?
this is mixed
But
message.
you're dressed like this, so you therefore want man to approach. You know,
But
so
this is the thing. What men need to realize is that women don't dress for men 99% of the time.
100%. And the reason why I'm interjecting here is because my friend was telling me this. His girl, she, how do I say this?
just say
Like,
it,
she
just-
has assets, yeah, and
sticks.
Sorry. Anyway, so he was like, "Oh, why do you keep dressing like this? Da, 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 da. Like, why are you wearing tight clothes and all that stuff?" It was up until he actually went out shopping with her, and he was like, "Okay, try this on." He was actually looking for like
Clothes that hug
dead
that
clothes,
body.
dead clothes.
Oh,
for her.
swear.
And even then, it still made it look quite
provocative. And
That's when he
this
was
is,
like,
okay,
okay.
so this is something that me and Saba have experienced. And tight crop top and jeans on me will look completely different on Saba.
100%.
So on Saba, so let's say her outfit that she's wearing today.
Yeah, if I wore the trousers Iman was wearing right now, it would look super baggy on me.
Yeah.
But on Iman,
So
it would
I
look
have
different.
I have to wear a top that covers what I need it to cover because I don't want to come across as being promiscuous, or I don't want to come across as if I'm showing this or
It's
showing
so
it. Do
true
you
when you
understand?
say that, you
But then when Saba wears it, Saba's fine. Do you
Yeah,
understand? Saba's
I'm not
modest.
sexualized.
Yeah, 100%.
Saba's not
Considered
sexualized.
modest.
It's because
Not sexualized, but it's seen.
it's not
two
to
completely
the
It
same
doesn't look
degree.
like I'm
It's not to the
trying
same
to
degree.
dress for your
attention.
gaze.
Yeah,
Thank you.
100%. And it's interesting you say that, because it's like, obviously women have no say in how their bodies are formed, in, for instance. But let's say if a woman is more endowed in certain areas, some guys will inherently see that as like,
Yeah, but that is
Sexual.
That's her
Yeah.
body.
yeah, it's like
100, yeah.
That's her
Lincoln.
body. She has no control.
and
over
so
that.
like you're saying, she could wear, like, say for instance, if a girl's got a G-Wagon and then, like, let's say she's wearing like a bed sheet, and let's say if, like, her bum was to still stick out, some guys will still be like, whoa, like, but again, that's literally just out of her control.
Yeah. Even like, so Saba's known me since we was 10 and since a very, very young age. So obviously we wore school uniform, skirts, whatever. And then when we got to sixth form now, I've always worn long coats. And people used to say to me, "Oh man, like your coats are so long and yada, yada, yada. Like, why are your coats this?" Before it was even in fashion. And that was just how I felt comfortable, because
You knew how it
I was being sexualized, even at a young age of 16, wearing jeans and a normal denim jacket. I'm getting stopped by a man on the middle of the street. So if I'm now with my dad, or if I see that's uncomfortable for him, it's uncomfortable for me. I don't want, that's not my intention. So even now to this day, I will only ever wear, like, unless it's like in a function where I can take my jacket off, wherever I am, out on the street, or like, I'll always wear a long coat.
It's a shame that that's the case, though, in a sense that, you know, like, it's crazy. Have you guys seen the video of, like,
The woman walking down the street and her being
New York,
No, I haven't seen it.
So
She's got, no, you can say.
no, go on.
She's got, basically, she's got like a hidden camera. I think she's just wearing like a calm dress, like nothing like.
No,
with
she's
it.
literally jeans and a t-shirt.
Oh, jeans and t-shirt. Sorry, she's not literally wearing anything revealing, and then she's just walking down the street, and then literally you just seeing guys just catcalling. Is it wolf whistling? Whistling, just doing things to get her attention. Like, and it's a shame that that's the world we live in. That, you know, women, even if let's say women don't even want to put that energy out there, men just see it and think she's just it's an invite to behave in that way. And then
But sorry,
the only thing I would say about that is that I'm completely against it. I'll never catcall a girl or approach a girl like that. But if everyone's doing it, there must be a reason. Like, there must have been a time that it's worked once for them.
But that's the
And
thing.
then
That's
decided to
what
do
it
it again and again and
But
again.
you
what
got to
it is?
remember. Sorry, but back in the day when they used to catcall, they used to do that in pursuit of marriage. Like they used to go and court a woman. So catcalling back in the day was different to what catcalling is today.
No, but I mean, guys that still do it today, they must do it for a particular reason.
Because they want a reaction.
Yeah, and
I
they
mean,
And the reaction
they
is to get
sexualise
them.
the woman and they think they can
even
sleep
even if a woman gets annoyed or if she gets angry, it's still a reaction,
Okay.
and it's still like, oh, I got something, I got her to turn her head, or I got something, and it's I don't know,
at least what I was going to add to that is at least I feel like in Western societies, women are able to talk up and are able to like shout back or able to call the police. Let me tell you, back home, that's not running.
Yeah, I know.
Because I can't walk outside of my house at 11 p.m, midnight, and like fear to some degree of my life.
Yeah.
So I would have to make sure that I'm going out with a guy that I know,
like a chaperone,
a friend, a chaperone. In Arabic, we say mahram. So Islamically, you have a mahram. I have to, like, when I'm in Morocco in the summer, I have to be with a guy. I have to. I can't walk out by myself.
It's true. It's the same in Nigeria. But even if you have a
mean?
chaperone, in fact, I saw a video. This girl actually had a chaperone, and someone actually still ran up and slapped her.
She was by herself. She was actually by herself. She was by herself still.
Yeah.
It was the worst part about it was a little way did it, and she was in a market full of like men, and I guess this is where us as men have to take accountability now, in a sense that we also have to pull people up on it, because you know how you see it with, like, we're seeing it now with like testimonies of girls, and they're saying like the Me Too movement, for instance, how it's not only the responsibility of women, it's also, you know, if you've got friends, or I'd like to hope that a lot of guys have got friends and they know that their friends are moving wayward, they'll G-check them, you know? But the thing is, we all know that isn't the case.
Yeah, we would never do that.
They turn a blind eye.
Even if,
We never do that. We'll never G-check our friends if they did that.
but
Wait,
you
we as
should.
in
Yeah, all three of us.
One second, if a girl slaps
I
someone
beg your
else,
pardon?
No, not slap at us. Say we're out on a night out, we're going out to a club, and one of our boys says, "Hey, you," and calls out a girl. None of us will say, "Hey, bro, like, don't do that."
I guess it depends on this. I guess
No,
it depends.
Exactly, we
you
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Exactly,
No,
we
you
wouldn't.
My cousins
I guess it
wouldn't.
depends.
See?
The
See?
boys that I'm around, they wouldn't.
See, understand that we're all saying it's a bad thing, but we're all saying we're not going to correct it.
No.
So
but
where's
I'm
the right
saying-
balance?
but I guess in that scenario there, if it's a case of if he's trying to speak to her in like that rude manner, like it's up to her whether she actually wants to acknowledge him.
But we should be able to say,
but
do you know, you're making her feel awkward. Don't do that.
No,
Approach her in the correct way.
But let's say if she's walking past here and he goes, "Oi, like, yo," and she airs him, then nothing comes of it. And it's like, you try like learn that this doesn't really work. If he's then trying to like go after her, etc., then it's a case I'll be like, bro, like, relax.
But you know guys that have the same game plan that try again and again and again and again. It might be different girls, but they'll still try again and again. And you'll never say, "Hey, bro, like, relax, like calm down, don't talk to any girls." You'll
To
never
be
do
honest,
that.
it's not even the catcalling is a major issue, but that's not even the main issue. It's the language behind it. Like, even once the girl leaves, let's say you didn't catcall and you're all on a night out, it's the conversation you guys have afterwards. Like, "Oh my god, did you see what she was wearing? Did you see this?" Blah, 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 blah.
That's so true.
That is not okay. That's still
That's
not
so
okay.
true.
But
You're putting her into the whore category
yeah,
straight away.
So from a female perspective, have you never like gone past or guys walk past and then you've sexualized him without as in like not within like his body, but I mean like
No.
certain aspects of him, you're like, oh, like
No,
he's so
we
good looking,
could say,
or
"Oh yeah, that was a handsome guy," or like.
But
"That was a
I
good
wouldn't
guy."
necessarily.
But
I wouldn't
it's not
sexualize him.
something-
It's not like it's not something that's like.
It would never be sexualized.
No,
So,
it wouldn't
okay.
be and it wouldn't be like derogatory. This is the problem.
Exactly.
I feel like from a male's perspective, it then degrades a woman and it reduces her worth and it reduces her ability to be a Madonna. Whereas if I was to say that a man was handsome, even if I was to sexualize him, I wouldn't say that he's something that I wouldn't be able to marry
I get
just
that.
because of me sexualizing
I get
him.
that.
Even though I mean I can't really think of a time where I have sexualized
Yeah.
someone, but if I have,
100% agree. The only rebuttal that I could ever come up with is the fact that in mainstream media, men and women are obviously sexualized different. So even if it comes to models, men you'll see for underwear being his top half is
Yeah.
removed. It's just like the crotch is the
Yeah.
only bit of decency that he has. So
Yeah.
therefore, because this portion already is so widely accepted as, you know, this isn't a thing.
That it
Women-
isn't sexualized, yeah.
Yeah, so therefore it's a case of that aspects of a man can't be sexualized. However, for a woman, you know, like that region and obviously this region, they're, you know, they're covered up. So therefore it's a case of, I guess, that kind of element
What you
of
can't see,
yeah, you know,
yeah.
that element of inquisitiveness for men
Yeah.
is like, oh, like it's hidden, like kind of like,
But,
you know what I
then
mean?
it's also almost like it's forbidden.
Mhm.
But another problem with that, with sexualization of women's breasts, is obviously not being able, or not mothers not being able to breastfeed in public because men
Yeah,
sexualize
yeah,
breasts.
It was a
that's true.
massive
Yeah.
thing a couple
Yeah.
That
of
was
years
recent,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
couple of years
and
ago.
because when we see women, we instantly sexualize them, and you can't see a mother in that way.
You can't see a mother literally giving food to her child. It's food.
It's sustenance.
Yeah.
So
like
are
you
you
know what I
girls
mean?
saying free the nipple then, basically?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm saying to each
personally-
their own.
but
I'm
each
saying
their
to
own.
each their own.
Personally, I wouldn't feel
personally
comfortable.
wouldn't.
Okay.
And the reason why I wouldn't feel
because you know how
comfortable-
I'm
we
more
perceive by
comfortable
saying,
being
oh yeah,
more
people like ogle at
conservative
you.
in the
Yeah,
way I dress.
yeah,
But if
and-
that's what you want to do.
Do
And
it.
also, my
Okay.
religion and my culture plays into it as well. I just wouldn't want a man seeing me in that intimate space because I consider that to be intimate for
Okay.
me. But if another woman feels comfortable
Yeah,
to
it's
do
her
so,
business.
absolutely, absolutely, no
Fair
problem.
Look,
You know.
I can't lie. I'm learning a lot today about the way girls think about stuff. But one thing that I just want to learn from you girls is that you've told us the wrong ways to approach guys and ways that you don't like to, because you feel like they're making you feel like you are the whore in the McDonald
Mhm.
whore complex.
Mhm.
So from a girl's perspective, what's the best way for a guy to approach you?
Just
To
I
take you
I
serious
like
in terms of you being serious.
personally, I like confidence.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily that I wouldn't like someone to physically come and approach me, but it's just the manner of your approach, the way you speak to me. Just if you're courteous, if you're kind, if you're just be normal. Like, don't sexualize me, or don't say, or like, I've had so many guys that will look me up and down first and then talk
I get
to
that.
me, and then like it's just
What's that called?
it's
Stripping someone
I think
naked of your eyes.
also
That's
being-
that- is that
I
what
don't
it's
know
called?
what the hell they're doing,
Understanding
but
your
they're doing.
environment. What is your intention? Are you approaching this woman because you see her as a whore, or are you approaching this woman because you see her as a Madonna?
But for
And
you,
you're in
Saba,
between
personally,
it,
for you,
or in
like,
between?
how would you like a
And
guy
I think
to
it
approach
depends
you?
as well. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
It depends if someone is approaching me in the club, or if
Exactly,
someone
that's
is
what I'm
approaching
saying.
me on the street, or if someone's approaching me in the
It
library,
But,
depends
but in a
or someone
perfect
approaching
world
me at work.
for your own perfect guy, how is the best way for him to approach you?
Somebody
Day to day.
somebody who probably will approach me in a professional environment.
Okay.
So not
Really?
necessarily. No, I wouldn't. To be
So
honest,
if a guy tried to speak to you in the club, you'd instantly write it off.
no, I wouldn't even talk to him.
No,
I wouldn't
Okay.
conversate with him.
absolutely not.
But
I
at
wouldn't.
work, you would prefer that in a professional
Yeah,
environment.
because I feel like it's
What happens if it's
you're a lot-
outside of the club? So let's say if you've got
No,
you're
if
walked
I'm-
out now and then he's tried.
Well,
Is that
the
different?
problem with that is that there's intoxication involved. There's so many different factors. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
other promiscuous women out there. There's so many, like, just for me, it's just all the whole
for you, it's just the setting
the
of
whole
it.
the whole
Yeah.
situation, the whole setting for me is just a no.
But equally, you said you like confidence. So what happens if it's a guy that, you know, like in London, London's very small but very, very big. So you never know if you're going to see that person again.
To be honest, I wouldn't like to be approached by anyone I wouldn't know, like a random person. I would have to be someone I like.
Friends with
Mutually.
If I already am friends with them, or if I know them,
Oh,
or if
okay.
we have a
Yeah.
mutual person and they approach me then, or if we've spoken a couple of times, then cool. But if it's a random person off the street, it does not make me feel comfortable.
Okay.
That is another thing. Yeah, I feel like once I do meet someone and get to know them, I'd like to know that there's some kind of familiarity, whether that be job,
Some sort of a
can't-
foundation. Some sort of a foundation.
some sort of thing that I know, like you're not
But it's-
wayward.
But at the same
gone.
time, girls are the ones, and it's only girls that say, I can't chat to you because you chatted to my friend. You're
Oh yeah,
speaking
that's
to my
another
friends.
thing. Yeah.
So how can a guy talk to you if they're just trying to talk to your friends to get to you?
Well, then make
That's-
that
No,
intention
but that's
clear with the
different.
friend.
Okay, so just
I'm
make
saying
okay.
if you've spoken to my friend and dated her previously,
Yeah.
there's no way you're going to speak
That's
to
not
me.
going to happen.
Okay.
No way.
Alright.
No, but you're saying, of course, you would never speak to a girl who's spoken to your
You
boy.
would never date a girl who Freddie's dated, would you? Oh no, I've just.
This is awkward. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Why has that Oh.
I can hear it in someone's voice. She's scared of that.
Oh, no.
No, I get that. I wouldn't take it seriously. I would.
But really and truly, okay, with most girls, they're quite possessive in the sense that, okay, a guy's chatting to
Be
her.
careful of your words.
That I did say most. That they're quite possessive. So if a guy's chatting to her, but they misconstrue that and they think it's
But
that
guys
way.
have that as well.
Yeah, guys have that as well.
Mm.
So, and obviously they'll say to their friends, okay, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, oh, we're proper close. But then this guy then starts chatting to you and he says, actually, in actual fact, none of this is happening. Like, I'll show you the receipts, look at this, it's just literally friendship. Would you still be down to
to get to know him.
get to
It's
know?
too messy. It's too messy.
I feel like that's
Nice and
kind of
clean.
so messy. I was just thinking
It's
that.
way
That's
too
like so
messy.
weird.
Just
Okay.
keep it simple, man.
Keep it. Okay.
No.
Keep it simple.
No.
No, I
Too
respect that. I understand that as well.
No.
I understand that.
But do you know what? I don't like because
I have a question. How do you guys, when it comes to partners, what metric or what compass do you use to get to maneuver through being single or
Through my list, you mean?
Man's already said finance, money.
No, I didn't say that. I
No.
said what the equivalent is.
And
to
tattoo
some women.
as well. I think in the last episode you said tattoos as
we're
well.
saying that with men,
Yeah.
obviously a lot of it is driven through sexualization. So I'm
Yeah.
asking for both of you.
For me,
It
what
has
is
to be
it that you?
intellectual stimulation.
yeah, intellectuals.
Initially.
Yeah, same.
Humor, being on the same wavelength in terms of your humor.
Mhm.
Like, it depends on.
Definitely for me.
Less superficial.
Most of the
factors
things are nothing to do with aesthetics. Like they're all to do with how I view you just genuinely as a person. If we can relate emotionally, if you're able to communicate, communication is a massive one for me. I can't be with someone that can't communicate effectively.
But the question is, how do you gauge all of this from first interactions?
No, but-
Because
I would have
That-
to get to know some. No, but I'm
Okay.
not like I
This
don't
is-
put off somebody straight away from the bat. Like I'm.
oh, okay, you'll
I'm
give
an
them a
av-
shot. Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm not someone who's
Because
like.
obviously, let's be real. A lot of guys, obviously, it's not just a case of, she got big back. Actually, there are a lot of guys that do make an exception, but by
Yeah.
and large, I'm saying from first contact,
Yeah.
from first point of contact, it's a situation where it's purely off of the aspects
This
because you
is the
don't know the
difference.
rest. Yeah.
I think a lot of the time where, again, fueled by media, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
where when you want to approach a woman, the first thing you notice is her physical appearance, and you
100%.
separate it from. And I'm generalizing, not all
But by and
men.
large, how else
And you
can it happen?
separate
Yeah.
it from her, and obviously women do it as well. If you're,
If an
physically appealing.
if an ugly boy approaches you, like,
But I think with women, a lot of
Yeah.
the time, it is, again, generalizing, it is intellectual stimulation first, it is emotional, it is, communication, it is
It
a
is,
lot of different
and this
factors,
is-
and then that comes secondary,
But I
or
think
it comes along.
But I think women have a pivotal role to play as well, because if a woman says, he's so lucky because he's got a great car, a good house, and a good-looking wife, that's always been like a trophy thing for a man to have, a good-looking wife. Everyone sees it as a tick in a box. Like, wow, well done. He did well because he has a good-looking wife. Why shouldn't we change as a culture to say, he has a wife that's intelligent? No one would do that because for everyone,
even women.
Because
That's
men,
not
but
attractive.
this is the problem. Men sexualize women,
but
so
women
men see
accept it as well.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because women have this complex as well. This is what I'm saying to you. We all have the complex, but it does stem from men sexualizing women first, and women accepting this idea, having this idea and complex for themselves, and feeding into it later on in life.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about when men adopt this idea. I'm saying they adopt it from like 5, 6. Like I'm not saying that they adopt it from like an older age. I'm saying when they're quite young. Same as women, we see it. So the over sexualization of women that's way too prevalent in all of our relationships within society is there. So it's not something that when you say like, oh yeah, we should change it from a good looking wife to an intellectual wife, I feel like that's really difficult to change if the man himself is not the one that's changing that.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with the trophy wife.
I get that.
And that's a problem
Because-
with trying to dissect between Madonna and the whore.
If us guys were more like, all right, he did well because his wife is the CEO or of a particular level or has this particular standard, then we can slowly change the culture through there. We just need to, per se, reference girls in better lights. I think that's the
Exactly.
only way we can do it.
I think you said that perfectly,
Mm.
and I think we should end it on that.
I think
note.
that's a good way to end it. Yeah. Even though we can speak about this
Yeah,
for
keep going on for time.
too long. But thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's been really good just collabing
Thank
with you
you.
lot. But yeah, check out Pull the Plug podcast on Instagram. And as always, follow us on YP4 Podcast. And it was great.
Catch
Thank
you
you
next
for having
great
us.
doing.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.